Hey guys, Rocambasco here, and today I'm gonna see if you can beat Dead Space without ever using the store. So what exactly does that mean? Well, since I can't use the store, that means I can't store my items in the safe. I obviously can't sell or buy new equipment. I can't buy new guns. I can't buy new suits, which give me more armor and storage space. So throughout the playthrough, I will be limited to 10 inventory slots. I also can't buy power nodes to upgrade my equipment at the bench. The only power nodes I will get to use are the power nodes that I find hidden throughout the game. And on top of all of that, I chose to play on hard mode to spice things up. Hard mode basically makes enemies stronger, makes myself weaker, and resources like ammunition and health are more scarce. So, breakdown of the intro. We arrive in a small ship to fix the big ship. Danger time. We all live. Yay!
That doesn't look good. She's taken a lot of damage.
That doesn't look good. He's taken a lot of damage. Run away and boom, plasma cutter. Throughout the game, there's many different Pokemon to kill. The Scyther, the Scoropy, the regular ass Necromorph baby, Snorlax, Geodudes, Ala Akabars, Bulbasaurs, Mr. Anorexic, the Zubats, and Gandalf.
You shall not pass!
In Chapter 1, we encounter and kill two Pokemon, the Scythers and the Scoropy. The Scythers, aka Slashers, always took at least 4 shots to kill, but 6 shots to kill were most common. On their own, they're easy enough to take care of. I could freeze them with stasis and then stomp their toes to save ammo, but in groups, things got a little more hectic. When demonic astronauts are sprinting full force at you, trying to use their scythes to cut you down instead of using them to mend the fields like a good farmer, a good strategy is to shoot off their legs to slow them down, and also make a barricade of paraplegics. The Scoropy, aka Leapers, are agile as shit and fast as fuck. It's really hard to shoot them in their arms or dick butts, so I pretty much always panic shoot when one of these guys are coming towards me. A better strategy is to use stasis on them, and since they're really weak, they quickly die to melee and well-aimed shots. Definitely the scariest Necromorph type in the game. After fixing the tram station and acquiring some object to repair our ship, I fuck up because I'm a dogshit engineer, and I press the self-destruct button and pave the way for Hammond to become a Brute's chew toy in the future. Once I got down the elevator, I encountered my very first store. I ignored it like a teacher ignoring a kid getting bullied, and then we're into Chapter 2. In Chapter 2, we encounter 3 new Pokemon, the Baby Bastards, the Geodudes, and the Testicle Sack Necromorphs. The Geodudes consume either a lot of health or a lot of ammo, so I would avoid them where I could, using stasis to slow them down while I gave them the slip. They're barely in the game, but may as well mention them. The babies, on the other hand, are all too common. I witnessed my fair share of babies growing up, and I soon realized that these babies weren't right. In fact, they were severely broken. The best way to fix a broken thing is to hit it until it's fixed, so I reverse engineered the baby until it was a fetus smeared on the floor, and then after that I realized that babies were the most annoying Necromorph type to kill because it's hard to be accurate on console and shoot their back dicks, which made me waste a lot of ammo throughout this playthrough. At this point, my inventory was already full, which was unbelievable to me, but I decided that 3 of my slots would be dedicated to healing items, 1 would be for a stasis pack, and the remaining 6 would be for my plasma cutter ammo. I barely ever took damage or ran low on stasis, so it seemed like a good balance of equipment. The last Pokemon encountered here is the Zubats, aka Testicle Sack Necromorphs. The testicle morphs inject orange semen into people's heads, which then turns them into evolved Pokemon types. These guys are tough since they take 3 bars of health with a single hit. They take 7 to 10 shots to kill, and stomping on them takes way too much time. Even the testicle morphs take about 7 shots to kill or a lot of stomps, so the difficulty was already climbing. In Chapter 2, I failed to save a man's life with CPR. I detonated a thermite charge in my face because again, I'm a dogshit engineer. I ignored the store again, and made it to Chapter 3. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the video, it'd be pretty damn epic if you subscribe to my channel. Also, leaving a like and a comment on top of that would make you the coolest person ever. 10 out of 10. Anyway, from the power nodes I obtained in the previous chapters, I was able to upgrade my damage to 14 points. The difference was definitely noticeable as it took less shots to kill slashers. The two new Pokemons in this chapter are Snorlax and the giant zombie dicks, if you can even consider these necromorphs, but these are always easy to kill. A couple shots and it's dead. Snorlaxes are easy enough to kill, but if you shoot them in the belly, they deploy their Geodude army, so limb shots are essential. In this chapter, I fixed some more equipment, rode a lift, disciplined a spoiled brat, and every time I went into an area with no air, I was always cutting it close since I didn't have room for air cans. I upgraded my damage once again, I defended my position like a boss in the engine room, ignored the store again, and finished chapter 3. The fourth chapter is where I encounter my first Bulbasaur. Since I had fully upgraded my plasma cutter damage in chapter 3, this was an easy fight. It only took 17 shots to kill it, and since ammo was all over the place, this Bulbasaur was easy as hell to rip and tear. Not much happens in chapter 4. I killed some necromorphs, some of which learned how to enter the 4th dimension. I used some corpses as piñatas. There was that whole asteroid defense part, which is tricky to do on a controller, but at 21 hull integrity, I completed it. I avoided Mr. Anorexia's rogue dicks, upgraded my stasis, and peaced out. Chapter 5 is really short, since for most of it I was running from a scary looking doctor who wanted to practice limb amputation on me, also known as the Regenerator. However, in this chapter, we are introduced to the Gandalf necromorph. He's easy to kill, but the real challenge are these stupid fucking baby turrets who shoot spikes at you from their back dicks. Once again, we're back in the medical bay, but this time, Dr. Religulous sicks his pet on me because I'm getting in the way of his divine plans or some dumb shit like that. Anyway, I ran around grabbing some key items. I saw another woman with a weird sense of humor. Ran from more necrocunts, and finished the chapter. Chapter 6 is one of the longest and scariest chapters in the game. Here we get introduced to the nerdiest of all necromorphs, the Weezer. These guys have social anxiety, so they seclude themselves in a private space and surround the area with poisonous nerd gas to scare off any extroverts. If school has taught me one thing, it's that you should shame shy people and make them feel weird for being quiet and not trying to fit in with the other loud losers. Why are you so quiet? You're weird. Die, quiet kid, die! We also get introduced to the Allah Akbars, but they're pretty self-explanatory. Once you've killed all the social outcasts, get sprayed in the face with plant diarrhea, and kill some more Bulbasaurs and other Pokemon, you have to kill one big mother fricker. A giant butthole. I came into this boss fight with 170 plasma cutter rounds and full health, so I was pretty confident. The tentacles are annoying, but easy to kill. The real issue is the butthole itself, because I'm not sure if you have to shoot it or throw its poop back at it, but logically, poop is toxic, which is lethal, and bullets, or whatever the plasma cutter shoots, is also lethal. So lethal plus lethal equals lethal. This boss fight was over within 7 minutes, so I killed the butthole, ignored the store just like every other chapter, and I made it to chapter 7. There aren't any new necromorph types in chapter 7, unless you want to consider Scorpide's evolution a new type. But other than that, it's the same old thing. Killing some necromorphs, doing various tasks on the mining deck. I defended a dumb blonde bitch while she unlocked a door for me. I attached an SOS beacon to an asteroid so we could call for help, and that wraps up chapter 7. Chapter 8 is just as short as chapter 5, but here we get introduced to Mr. Anorexia. I found that the best strategy for dealing with this lanky fuck is to shoot him until his limbs separate, then stasis all the limbs and stomp the fuck out of them. With all his separate body parts and his torso together, he can be just as tough, if not tougher than a brute with the amount of ammo consumption. In this chapter, I have to help by fixing ship systems to get the attention of the USM Valor, a military ship in the same system as the Ishimura. After fighting my way through an intense bridge fight where Leapers were still using their 4D tactics, and fighting my way past some Guardians and Mr. Anorexic, I made it to the satellite room. I aligned everything, made my way to another turret station where I had to fight some tentacle necromorphs, and the fight got easier as more and more tentacles died, so eventually I killed it with 40 health to spare. The USM Valor crashes into our ship because the captain was drunk driving. I hop on the tram station, and now it's time for the 9th chapter. In this chapter, we unfortunately get introduced to the junkie necromorphs, aka the Twitchers. These guys are jacked up on every stimulant known to man, so they sprint fast as fuck and chop my health down even faster. On top of that, they're terrifying, so I'm gonna give Twitchers a D-. On my way into the hell I was about to endure, I slapped a store to show it who's boss, and after firing all the radiation balls into space, I was in the ship. There honestly isn't much that happens in chapter 9. I made my way through the tiny ship, just killing necromorphs, and looking at a guy who obviously had the wrong leg, since it was so untextured compared to his other leg that it couldn't possibly be his true leg. I destroyed some fuses, and then I obtained some part of the ship. And that's when Hammond's fate came face to face with him. And with a tear in his eye, he said, he finally became the Bulbasaur's chew toy, but this was no ordinary Bulbasaur. It was a Venusaur. The fucker had evolved. Sure, it was tough, but human ingenuity was tougher. I was going through the 5 stages of grief, denial being the first thing I went through. However, he despawned and already I reached acceptance. Next I went through the depression stage, and I couldn't go through the bargaining stage since I couldn't use the store, so immediately I had reached anger. I hopped on the tram station and moved on with my life. The only important thing that happens in chapter 10 is that I spend this chapter running from the regenerator again and kill it with the ship engines. It was a hard chapter, but nothing new really. I did meet a Dr. Kine, but he dies in the next chapter, so he's also not worth talking about. We successfully fixed the ship, I hop back on the tram, and chapter 11 is now here. This is that scary ass chapter where you have to load the marker onto the ship to send it back down to the planet. I killed all the necromorphs in the cargo bay, and then moved the marker when I was safely out of reach of the zombie dicks. I loaded the marker onto the ship in the 0G area. Kendra turns out to be a bitch who was working for the necromorphs the entire time, so she kills Kine, oh no, and she takes my ship. Nicole and I call it back because fuck Kendra. I run past the necromorphs to leave Nicole to deal with them. We leave the ship and finish chapter 11. Chapter 12 is the Juicy Boy, the last chapter in the game. I decided that since I would have to fight the hive mind, I would only keep 2 slots for health and 7 for ammo since I didn't know how tough it was going to be. I started off by bullying a Mr. Anorexia into eternal loneliness by pushing him into the pit of sadness, and then I began my painful journey of moving the marker. I said one last goodbye and then proceeded into hell. This first room is the toughest, but standing in this area is the best spot, so I killed all the necromorphs from here, which took some effort and a whole 2 health bars, and that was it for that room. I killed some more Gandalfs, killed another Venusaur, said fuck off to a store, quickly moved the marker to this spot, which was fucking annoying, and after all of that, I come face to face with the whore. She takes my marker away, I cried, and then I was totally prepared for the boss fight. I upgraded my health, I brought a large med kit, a stasis pack, 220 plasma cutter rounds, and I was set. The hive mind used Kendra as a cloth to wipe down the ground because it takes hygiene very seriously, and then it was just the 2 of us. The whole fight was way too easy. I slid to the left, slid to the right, and absolutely fucking wrecked his face balls. This was the hardest part of the fight, but after I was successful, I finished him off on the ground, all without taking a single hit. The planet consumed the hive mind. I saw the impending doom, so I ran back onto the ship while shitting in my pants, and then I got the fuck off the planet. So was I able to beat Dead Space without using the store? It was a lot easier than I thought it would be, but it's definitely possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.